And not to say I'm one to harbor feelings, because I wouldn't necessarily say that I am. Well, maybe I am. That's all on the journey. We'll figure it out. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching Healing with Becca. So today I'm going to be talking about the second stage of grief, which is anger. I know a lot of people more often than not have that anger management control concern. And I know I'm definitely one of those people. So we're just going to go on ahead, dive right in and get the conversation started. So I know anger is a very difficult conversation to be had. So with that being said, a lot of people feel like anger is an organic feeling, right? But for me, I know that when my anger and my frustration and like being overwhelmed um starts to sink in and I get like that little twitch. I know I have to be able to distinguish the organic feeling behind it. So for me, a majority of the time, the organic feeling behind my anger tends to be hurt, hurt. And it couldn't be more relevant to grieving, because a lot of people don't realize it, but when you allow yourself to be angry, that's you allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And it really doesn't matter how you put it, like once that anger sets in. I know for me, I'm like the worst griever when it comes to like loss in family. And I like lash out, and I it is safe to say that in the past I've hurt people because I've been hurt. Hurt people hurt people. It happens. But gracefully I've grown out of it. And I was able to take a look at it and go, okay, yeah, you almost caught a charge there. You almost caught a case. Maybe maybe we take a second to reevaluate. And I know, like, when I had that conversation of taking a second, taking a step back and reevaluating, there was an acknowledgement that came. And I know for a lot of the people in my life, it's so easy for them to just be like, yeah, I'm upset, but I'll move past it. And not to say I'm one to harbor feelings, because I wouldn't necessarily say that I am. Well, maybe I am. That's all on the journey. We'll figure it out. But I know for me, it's a lot harder for me to move past whatever got me worked up or, just ready to go. So, what I would do in response to my anger, um, let's be honest, aside from, blowing down, I I would call somebody. And for me, hearing someone else's story makes me okay. It's kind of weird. But me knowing that someone else in the world is human, someone else in the world is feeling, if not the exact same way, real close to it, that's more than enough for me. So then it's like, okay, let's figure it out, because I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. So I don't want to say I'm like an emotional projector when it comes to hostile emotions. I wouldn't say that I'm an emotional projector, but um, when I lost a family member this past year, I definitely lashed out at a lot of people who may not have necessarily deserved it. And it's difficult. It's difficult because who am I to not be allowed to feel how I feel, right? So who am I to not be allowed to be angry? I can't be human for like 5 minutes. Okay. And then who are you to tell me that I cannot be angry? I'm a firm believer in allowing yourself to feel every single emotion. You have to go through the motions and you have to be able to identify these emotions. If you cannot identify your emotions, it's going to be very hard to heal. You have to know where the problem lies. You have to know where it began. So when I lost my family member last year, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I didn't respond the way that I should have. Like normally in grievances, I'm very logical. I do my best to think before I actually acknowledge however I feel, which is kind of different, but whatever floats your boat, right? If you need to go ahead and maybe punch a wall or something, then you go ahead and do that in your own little humble abode. But you may not need to necessarily project that onto people. And when I lost this close family member, I didn't know how to respond to the people around me. I didn't know how to respond to myself. And I didn't even know how to be there for myself. Like, everyone has their like life changing and like molding moments. And one of many, that's what losing that family member was for me. So it was very difficult for me to go, I'm wrong. You're not wrong. And even though the people that I had around me were not good for me, that's something else. You need to know the company that you keep. Even though the people that I had around me were not good for me, I still had to accept responsibility for the part that I played in allowing my grievances and my heightened emotions to push that aggression and that hardness, because it was like a numbness I'd never felt before. So everybody will experience their own journey in life. Clearly, I'm sure everybody knows that. But by that, I mean other people grieve romantic relationships, they grieve friendships, they grieve loss in the physical world, and they grieve loss of life. Now, loss in the physical world, that's like someone whom you've had a great relationship with, whether it been short term, like a soulmate, or long term, like a partner. And honestly, everyone responds differently. I know, like, I'll be more heightened in emotion if there's a loss of life rather than a loss in worldly relationship. So it's different for me as it would be for everybody. But I knew that I had to take accountability for the parts that I played. And I knew that my anger was not going to assist with any of my healing. So I had this like coming to Jesus moment one day, and I was just like, why are you so angry? And with me being able to allow that to sit and resonate with me, I was able to answer. And I learned about myself. I suck at goodbyes. Like, I'll be moving to a different city, a different state or something, and I will not say bye. I won't. You'll call me and be like, where you at? Girl, I'm in like Tampa. But you was just, yeah, well, not no more. Like, I am terrible with goodbyes. And there's something about a loss of life that kind of, it snatches that opportunity away from me. Not saying that I would take it. I mean, like, now I've learned I need to take that opportunity. But I just genuinely suck at goodbyes. And because of that, and because I didn't know where to place my anger, um, it impacted relationships that I have up until this day. Friendships with certain people. And when I tell you, I have this one friend and love her to pieces. I would do anything for her. And we've been through like everything. So some years ago I was in a relationship, and the relationship ended, of course. And I was going through my grieving process. And I got past the denial stage. I mean, quick. No worries about that. Very quick. However, I was not able to get a hold on my anger. Now, me and this girl have been friends for about 4 years prior to our falling out. And in the craziest way, all it would have taken was a conversation. But I wasn't in that mental space to go, all it will take is a conversation. So I ended up hurting someone who was just hurting because I was hurting. And it took me about 3 years to make peace with myself and forgive myself for that. Because when you hurt people because you're a hurt person, that's you taking from your emotional bank account. And when you withdraw from your emotional bank account without depositing, you end up with nothing. And you're sitting here like, why do I feel the same way that I felt a week ago? And today's a new day. And that is how I felt going through the loss of my friend after the loss of a relationship. Because the fact of the matter is, I just wanted my friend. And I was too proud to say that. I just wanted my friend. I was angry. Couldn't be fucked with. But in all reality, I wanted to call my friend. I just wanted a second. And the craziest thing for me with learning how to forgive myself, I had to forget. And a lot of people say you forgive, but you never forget. Now, don't get me wrong. I forgive, but I don't ever forget what someone does to me. But in order for me to come to that healing process and that peace within myself, I have to forgive me and forget the way that I felt going through that circumstance. So once I forgot how I felt going through that circumstance and I reminded myself to just think of the outcome, I was able to sleep at night. I mean, sort of, kinda, a little better than before. Maybe like an extra hour and a half, that's all. But I just want to know, how do you guys respond when emotions hit? And I mean, like, life is full circle. Relationships work, relationships don't work. Friendships work, friendships don't work. People live and people die. But there's an internal peace that needs to be come to in order for us to continue to wake up every morning with a drive and a love for life. So let me know how you guys respond to your emotions. Me, I'm now just learning how to respond to my emotions, good and bad. Like, I would be happy, and I'm from the Bronx, so wrestling, bitch, okay, that's what it is. So I would be happy, but you would never be able to tell because I'm just walking around like, and I didn't got like job offers, full rides for school. I'm just a happy little camper on the inside, but you cannot tell. And the minute I learned that your external features can impact your internal mood, this is going to sound crazy, but if you get to a point with someone, or if you get to a point in your healing process where you're just like, I'm upset, and anger is a very dangerous emotion if you do not know how to respond to it. And I recommend something really crazy. Just sit and smile. Just sit down by yourself. I mean, like, I doubt that anyone would want to do this in front of someone, but just sit down by yourself and just smile. Boy, you good, girl, you good. You're good. You're good. And you're good because you chose mental health. You chose healing. That's why you're good. So there's nothing wrong with getting angry. There's nothing wrong with the grievance and frustration behind acknowledging that anger. And it's okay if it takes time. It took me 3 years to apologize. And I was wrong. Was I wrong? Well, I'll have that conversation with myself later. Anyway, it took me 3 years to apologize. And that was the best decision that I made, because all transparency, I couldn't have asked for a better support system than the support system that I have now. And as we get into it, as we get into this healing, as we get into this acknowledgement, I want you guys to tell me, how do you respond to your emotions? What does emotional awareness look like to you? Thank you guys so much for choosing mental health. Our next conversation will be a piggyback off of this one, as well as an acknowledgement and a breakdown of mental health in the everyday life. Thanks for healing with Becca. We'll see you next time.